Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alan Smason. Welcome to NOLA Theater Talk. This is part of our outreach every week on Mondays and Fridays for the most part. We reach out to the NOLA Theater Folk Facebook group. We broadcast there, as well as to the theatercriticism.com Facebook page, and also to my own YouTube channel. You can, if you'd like, become a subscriber to the YouTube channel just by signing up, or you could become a member of the NOLA Theater Folk Facebook group. I also remind everybody that if they don't want to be a member of the group, they can certainly just watch these broadcasts on the theatercriticism.com Facebook page. That doesn't require membership. Just, check it out and do what you can to catch as many of these as you can. Tonight, we are very pleased. We're going to be welcoming a dynamic duo, as it were. We have a very talented pianist, arranger, composer, music director, also someone who has another sideline in terms of his work doing fashioning of marionettes, puppetry, and one of our more renowned cabaret performers, a singer, an actor who has had significant impact here in the New Orleans area. Again, also, we'll find out a little bit about some of her history and the fact that she actually has been trained in opera. So not many of you may know that. And then, of course, some of you may. So let me bring in, first off, the first half of our group. Again, we're going to bring in the lady first, if that's okay. I hope that people will appreciate the fact that she is a star to be reckoned with. And we want to make sure that that we see her in all of her splendor. So here we go. Let's see if we can get the I'm trying to see. Yeah, I was afraid of that. Sometimes these things don't work correctly. I'll fix that up. I'm going to hide that right now. But let me bring in Anaïs. Hi, Anaïs. How are you?
Hi, Alan. Thank you for having me.
Sometimes when you've got an umlaut, when you've got a name that has something like that, things go awry. So I'll just spell your name without the umlaut.
Use that old I.
I'll just leave it. I'll leave it at that. See if we can get it. If we can get it together. Here we go. There we go. It just doesn't have that other thing. So again, Anaïs, want to thank you for being here. I don't know if you've seen any of these other shows that we've done, but we try to get as many different kinds of people from all different walks of life, and we're so delighted to have you tonight. So thank you for bringing your beauty and your charm, your grace, and your talent to our show tonight. Also, of course, on the bill, we'd like to welcome the other half of the duo, Harry Mayronne Jr. And again, Harry, thank you for being here as well. Now, Harry, I know that the name Harry Mayronne Sr. is not known by as many people because, unfortunately, a lot of people growing up don't know. But your dad was a musician as well, correct?
No, my father was an artist, but he was in the music business as a.
He was associated with music. Now, you're gonna have to speak up a little bit because you are a little bit low. Yeah, but anyway.
Can you hear me better now?
A little bit better now. Yeah. Okay, increase your volume as best you can.
And I'm getting close.
It's a little, yeah, it's a little low, but that's okay. You can hear me okay. It's okay.
I can hear you.
Yeah. It's just that your volume is about 20% of where it should be probably. So
Alan,
if you can.
Let me ask you, if I go away for a moment and check my settings, is that
yeah.
right?
Sure, we can do that, and I'll talk to Anaïs in a minute. Okay, all right. So you didn't have to leave. I could have removed you anyway. In any event, Anaïs, first off, as I was saying before, a lot of people know that you do cabaret. A lot of people are familiar with some of the things you've been doing in terms of working with Harry, the Porch Fest that you started. We'll talk about that later. But I thought it was always such a wonderful side note to you and your training. That you had actually started out being classically trained in the world of opera, and
I did. Yes.
And now that was at Loyola.
No, I went to Xavier University for undergrad, and then UNO for my master's.
Okay, so who was over at the Xavier University program at that time? Who was
Ron Ware, was a voice teacher at Xavier University, and Raquel Martina at UNO.
That's fantastic. Now, did you get a chance to actually? I know you were involved with the New Orleans Opera too. You did some supernumerary kind of roles and some other extra roles, right? I mean,
about the opera thing. I knew that I wanted to become a singer, And I knew I wanted to study music in college. Now, at that point, I didn't know that studying music, studying voice meant that you would learn opera. I was like, okay, I'll learn opera. And really, I didn't have any clue about what I was getting myself into until I was immersed into the opera world and into classical training. And then I fell in love with it. I submersed myself into all of the classical singers. I remember riding the bus to school and listening to Leontine Price and just becoming a complete fan of opera and loving everything about it. I mean, and it's not just about the opera. It's just really learning in that stage of my life, classical training, how to use the breath, how to use diction, learning the languages, and then being able to, from there, participate in operas with the New Orleans Opera Association. I sang in operas with them for about 3 to 4 years. And that is such an incredible experience to have had and put under my plate as a beginning singer in the world.
And I need to sort of correct myself. I said supernumerary because those people, they don't really sing. So you were like a chorus member, or
I was a member of the chorus, which is kudos to the chorus members of the opera, because it is a significant amount of time and preparation that goes to any opera. These were the days before I had a child, and I had a lot of time to spend to dedicating to these rehearsals. You're rehearsing 3 hours a night, 3 to 4 nights a week, of course, to put on a magnificent production. And I met a lot of my my opera singer friends who I'm still friends with today.
So did you know Harry? Harry, welcome back. Can you hear me now, Harry?
Yes, I can.
It's still a little low, but we'll work with it, okay?
Okay,
So
can you hear me better now? If I'm
a little bit, yeah, but we can't see you very well. I'm gonna see if I can back off of there.
Okay,
Here we go.
Alan, should I let this auto adjust the volume?
I would think so. I would think, or just have an
have
omnidirectional microphone. So yeah, just let it do its thing. In any event, Anaïs, when was the first time that you actually had worked with Harry? When was, how far back does that go?
I began working as a cocktail waitress at the Le Chat Noir.
I was going to bring that up. That's what I was, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
I purposely got a job there because I wanted to meet people in the music industry, and that was, the chicest club in town. And I wanted to surround myself with people who were doing what I wanted to do. And it was the best place to meet people like Harry and people like Barbara Motley and people like Suganzi and people like you. I know I didn't meet you there, but I'm sure I served you a drink at some point.
I'm sure you served me more than one drink, as a matter of fact. And we're not talking about more than one night there. We had many, many, many drinks, yes. But again, yeah, I always thought, I said, that's our cocktail waitress. She sings opera? Oh, wait a minute. She sings other things too? Whoa. So, yeah, I had no idea because, when you go into a bar, and that, by the way, was my favorite bar in New Orleans.
Not your favorite. It was the elite cabaret venue, the only, but not only that, but Barbara Motley really took the level of the nightclub, the lounge, the cabaret. You couldn't really, you didn't have a place to do that. I mean, we had the Red Room, but that really wasn't cabaret.
God bless Barbara
intimate.
Motley.
And then they did. I saw many of Harry's shows.
Yeah,
I remember seeing Harry.
Yeah, they brought a phase of cabaret we had never seen before in New Orleans. Really, I mean, the Blue Room had something akin to that, but that was really not true cabaret, the type that goes on in New York, etc. So
correct, and certainly not in my lifetime. I mean, I started working there when I was 24 or something like that. So that was my first taste of something I had never seen in New Orleans. And I remember thinking that I wanted to talk to Harry after one of his shows. And I went up to him after a show and I said, hey, would you mind listening to me sing? Because I really want to start maybe getting a gig in New Orleans. I decided, with the help of my husband, who was then my boyfriend, to try something different. He encouraged me to reach beyond opera and to try, something that might open up some doors for me here in New Orleans. So I'm ever grateful for his suggestion to branch out.
Well, Harry, in your honor, in Barbara Motley's honor, and Anaïs in your honor as well, I made a Manhattan tonight because Barbara and Biff Motley went up to New York. They caught, I believe it was Andrea Marcovicci's show up in New York, and Manhattan as a result. And that's what inspired them to do Le Chat Noir down here to actually have a New York styled cabaret, and all the rest is history. And now, Harry, you had been performing for a long time. I mean, you've been doing what you do. Le Chat Noir was one of the many places that you played at, but how far back does your playing go? I mean, in terms of when you first started. I mean, it seems to me you were around with Ricky and some other people, Ricky Graham and some other people too, right?
It goes farther back than I like to think. By the way, I'm Anaïs. I was kind of non-reacting. I'm not hearing the audio for Anaïs. So Alan, I can hear you. So that was.
I can hear Anaïs well. She could be a little louder, but you could be a whole lot louder. You're still very, very low.
Okay,
I
have a mic, and I don't know if this is helping.
That might be better, but it sounds to me like you almost have to kiss it. I mean, it really is very low.
Okay, that's about the best I can do.
Yeah, that's a little bit better, but just keep it very close to your moving mouth. That's all I can tell you. So Harry, how far back? Literally, when did you first start playing piano?
Oh, when I was in first grade.
Okay, so your dad was involved with all of the different. You mentioned he was an artist. Okay.
He was a graphic artist. He had a graphic studio called Harry Mayronne Studios, and he was a wannabe musician. Now, back in 1953, my father had a record shop on Bourbon Street called the Jazz Center at 706 Bourbon Street. And later on, he got involved with the Olympia Brass Band and later Tuba Fats and Lady Linda as their, not manager, but he did a lot of booking for them. And as a graphic artist, he was able to do all their promotional materials. And I think Phil Melanza last week told you the story about Sam and my father working together at the Tavern Playhouse concurrently with Phil and me working on a show called The Fantastics, which was just kind of a wacky thing that we both, my first professional job, my father was on the bill with me.
So again, owing to that connection, you sort of started out, and I guess I have to ask in terms of who you consider your influences. I mean, he mentioned Sam Adams. I mean, who were some of your influences on your piano playing?
They weren't pianists. I grew up listening to. Okay, I'll back up. I was born in Mexico City. My parents got married and went there. My father attended the University in Mexico City on a GI Bill.
Okay.
And the first records that they brought back for the music of Mexico and Cuba, and I heard a lot of that, influenced me in a more subliminal way than listening to another musician. And the Broadway stuff, classical music, I didn't really hear any what you call pop until, and of course I listened to jazz.
I was about to ask, what about jazz?
I heard a lot of revival jazz because my father and my mother still have this extraordinary collection of 10-inch 78s from that period, that revival, late 40s, early 50s. And so I didn't really hear pop music until I was well into school. So, and children's records, I think I got my sense of theatrical music from listening to kiddie records that had a narrator and now we're going to hear a story of chicken,
right?
That kind of thing. So
how about Danny Kaye? Did he have an influence?
I listened to Danny Kaye, of course.
Yeah.
My grandmother who was British introduced me to the Beatles. I think that was actually my introduction to pop music. My grandmother, strictly because she was English, and she said, "Do you know the English Beatles?" And I thought she was talking about bugs, of course. And so my influences were many and varied. By the way, I do have a cocktail.
Okay, what did you bring? What is that?
That's one of the cocktails from Waiting Around, which was formerly known as Black and White Blues.
Right.
Russell Hodgkinson made the props, but
I hope you have a real one though.
Is a Lefroy,
yeah. Now what is that?
Nice. I love you for the Lefroy. Thank you.
What is it? The drink again?
Lefroy. It's a single.
The Scotch. Yeah, that's got a very peaty taste to it. I know that my mother's internist, Dr. Brobson Lutz, former health director for the city of New Orleans, he swears by LaFrog. And so I have tried to develop a taste for it as best I can, but it's not something that you can develop right away. It's one of these things that you really sort of like beer. I had a taste of beer when I was 4 years old because I insisted, and I never wanted to have another taste of it until I was like 16 or 17 later on. It was like it was enough for me to keep me away for a while. So Anaïs, again, you're from where? Where did you?
I'm from New Orleans. I'm a local girl.
And okay, so but you're now what part of town?
I grew up in Gentilly, but I've really lived in pretty much every part of town. My mom moved around a lot, single mom, but I call Gentilly my home. I grew up in the 7th Ward, went to Corpus Christi Elementary School, and then Mount Carmel High School, and then of course Xavier for college and UNO so straight New Orleans girl.
And now you're at Trinity, right?
Now I'm teaching at Trinity, but my first teaching job was at Holy Cross High School.
Oh,
when it was in the Bywater. I taught there from 2000 to all the way up to Katrina, and then moved on. I did an interim job at De La Salle and St. George's until I finally got into Trinity, and I've been at Trinity for 15 years now. That's where my daughter goes to school.
And now, were you there teaching when my dear, lovely, sweet Cynthia Owen was there, or did you take over for her?
No, I was there when Patrick Gendusa was there.
Okay.
Patrick Gendusa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was the choir director. I think Cynthia may have been the drama. I did choir.
Yeah, such a wonderful girl. I just every whatever it is, July the 3rd or whatever it is that it was her birthday, I always think about how we've lost that treasure because I remember watching her grow up. A lot of people do, when she was Lila's daughter and on stage, and through the years she used to come into Smith's Records, which I was managing, and when she was a young lady, she'd come in to get records, and I saw her, literally grow up before my eyes. And I'll never forget Al Shea one time announced on Steppin' Out. I've heard of that program. He announced that Cynthia Owen was the greatest musical actress in the city, and I thought to myself, that's pretty high praise, So I'm so glad that we were able to appreciate her while she was around. So again, Trinity is where you sort of hang your hat during the day, but at night we can find
I hang my hat.
Yeah, at night and in the evenings.
I have the best of both worlds. I have my daytime teaching job, which I adore, and then I get to do the nighttime jazz singing, and it's really a perfect combination of surrounding myself in a musical world.
Okay, so I want to share out a bunch of the stuff that we have. Well, I think we've got a little bit of background. We learned about Harry. You did mention, before I get into some of the other stuff that you all are doing together, you did mention Black and White Blues, what was originally called Black and White Blues, and now is called Waiting Around. Yeah. Now, Harry, just a little bit of background on that, because this is one of the big, I would say, shows that came out of New Orleans. It was a New Orleans show that developed its own persona, if you will. It ended up going, I know that they did it on the road in North Carolina, and I believe it ended up in New York for a while. And then you ended up, I don't know exactly the way it was arranged, but you said, to Ricky, maybe I can run with a little bit more or whatever. I'm not quite sure how that all worked out, but essentially you've inherited it now. It's sort of your baby, right?
Yes, it is. But the history of that show, this was in the 80s. Ricky and Sue Gonzi and I were doing a show together, and it was called the Black and White Blues at the Mint. And we did it on Monday nights. I think we did it at midnight for the service industry people. And it evolved into that show. Ricky said we should do a show about waiters and waitresses. And so we premiered it at Le Chat Noir. It ran.
Keep speaking up. There you go.
Who was in the original production, and I ended up taking this. I'm jumping from the past to the present. But what happened is Ricky and I had been waiters together at Cafe Spiza, and Ricky was a manager at one time, so there was a lot of reality in the show. Some of the crazy things that happened in the show came right from largely things that happened to Ricky when he was a manager, and blowing the crumbs off the table. And but anyway, Chris Weckline and I, the show opened in 2002. In 2005 and 6, Chris and I raised well over $100,000 and took the show off Broadway with 2 co-producers. It somewhat got swallowed up in post-Katrina history because it was such a weird time to say we're doing this cute little musical comedy about restaurants, and people didn't quite know what to make of that. But we did have I think 34 performances at the Laurie Beechman Theater. It was one of the most thrilling things I've ever done to be doing the same show we had done for several years on Charles Avenue, but know that outside it was New York City.
And the Laurie Beechman, for those of you who are from New Orleans and have never been up there, the Laurie Beechman seats around 100 people or so. It's a nice size room, and it really would be considered an almost off Broadway, but an off Broadway performance hall. And I've actually seen a couple of shows that have been there myself, but it'll be akin to what Le Chat was like in terms of the size of the room.
Very similar.
Yeah, very very much about the same size. And so yeah, I mean it's fantastic. And again, every now and then you bring it back, which is wonderful. But some of the talent you all had in there, I mean, you mentioned who?
Junius, Jorenda Junius, Jesse Terrebonne.
Yeah, Jesse Terrebonne. I mean, I think that may have been the very first thing Jesse did, actually after graduating. I think she was involved with that. Yeah.
I think it was her 21st birthday. We went out. She had her first legal drink. Then we had Bobby Eads later, who went to New York.
Sure. Yeah.
And then more recently we had Tracy Collins. We had Allie Peck, and Chris has remained in that role. And I think that was everybody. We also did it twice at the Greenbrier in West Virginia.
Was it West Virginia? I was thinking North Carolina, but what must be West Virginia?
The Greenbrier is where the Saints have gone for training sessions.
Okay.
It's been on America's Castles. And my father, one of the craziest things, and I have a video of this, is when we went up in 2003 to do the show at the Greenbrier, we also had with us on this little plane, along with Heidi, Jesse, my mother, Roy Smith, and Chris and me, we had the Olympia Brass Band, and I have a video of all of us getting off this little tiny prop jet in the snow. Jesse had never seen snow before, and it was an extraordinary, crazy thing that it was this group of musical comedy people, my friends, and also my friends, the Olympia Brass Band, all partying together and hanging out. That was a special memory.
Anaïs, I want to make sure that you're still with us.
I'm here.
What are you drinking tonight?
I didn't get the memo. I'm sorry.
All right. I'm going to take you out of the room. I'll bring you back in when you got another drink. We don't allow anybody in here without a drink. That's the way it goes. All right. Hold on a second. I'm going to bring in, it can be water. I don't care, but you got to have a drink. Let's see if I can share out one of your Porch Fest. And I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get that while she goes off to get a drink. You all are performing these as part of what you do on what, every Saturday about 4 o'clock? Yeah. So again, now where does this take place? Is this in Algiers where you are?
It's in Algiers, but it's strictly an online thing. I mean, some of the neighbors come, but it's just, we got to be careful about that because it's an online thing.
Right. All right. Well, let me see if I can figure out who's. We'll just go with the flow here. I'm going to go ahead and share this out. Let's see if I can get this thing to work for me properly. I hope it can. Looks like it didn't want to cooperate. Okay. There you are. You got something to drink now, right?
People drop in on Saturday.
Let's see if I can try to get. For some reason, the drive doesn't want to share out the video. It seems like it's maybe slowed down or something. But I'm gonna go ahead and stop the sharing on that one. Let me try again. We'll try a second one, and if we can't do that, we're getting a little bit of the performance there, but
I may be able to share it from my screen too.
Yeah, you might end up having. Let's try one more time. I'm going to try the same one, share it out one more time, Now let's see if it'll pull. Might just be the bandwidth. I don't know. Yeah. That's never a good sign. Yep, that one's not working well. All right, so we'll try one more. It may have been just that clip. Let's see if the other one here will work, and then I'll have to teach you how to do this if you're going to try to share it from your own, and that is you have to
hit the one button that says share screen.
You have to hit share screen, Chrome tab, and then there's a little teeny tiny box at the bottom left-hand corner. If you don't click share audio, you won't hear anything. It'll be a silent movie.
Well, let me know if you need to do that.
Let's see if this one works.
Okay.
It died again. Yeah. Tell you what, let me see. All right. Well, you know what? We're trying.
We're trying.
Yeah. Okay. So if you don't mind on your end, just go ahead and go to where the clip is. It might be that it's on the Google Drive, and maybe it needs to be downloaded. And if that's the case, then we'll try to do that as well. But in the meantime, as I said, I was hopeful because sometimes the application will just, it's not let me load. And I don't know if that's a consequence of our bandwidth on this end or possibly on your end on where it's being stored. I'm not sure, but I want people to hear your marvelous voice and see how you perform. But unfortunately, I'm not seeing any of this loading, and that's a problem.
Are you seeing?
Let me see. You go ahead and try to share out. I can see something there, but it's not coming up. It's like grayed out. There. All right. It might be coming up now.
I've wined and dined on mulligan stew and endowment for turkey as I hitched and hiked and drifted too from Maine till Albuquerque. Alas, I missed the Bozart's ball.
We can hear it, can't see it.
At a party where the honored Noel cared, but social circles spin too fast for me. My whole Bohemia is the place to be. I get too hungry.
Yep.
For dinner. I like the theater, but I never come late.
We can hear you.
Yep. Well,
it's just it's just one of those things, unfortunately. As I said, I was hoping and praying that it would work. And there's no way to tell these things if they're going to work or not until we actually. It's a live broadcast, so until we actually try to play them, we never know for certain that they will. I tell you what, I can try to do. I was hoping that one of these things would work if I could get to where it is on the drive and download it. But the problem is I'm not even able to do that for whatever reasons. It's not showing me the photos and the clips that are there. So c'est la vie. That's the way it goes. So well, look, let's just talk about it. Okay. First off, you were doing a little bit of there of I assume a little bit based on Cole Porter. Was that Eartha Kitt you were doing?
Listen, every week, the whole thing about the Porch Fest is that we do different themes. So that could have been Anaïs's favorites. Sometimes I'll just do a show of jazz standards. And, Lady is a Tramp is one of my one of the songs I do in most of my jazz shows. So, but I've done everything from, I've done Elton John, Nina Simone, Eartha Kitt, Donna Summer, Tina Turner, Bill Withers. Gosh, we did Bad Girls Part 1 and Part 2. It's, all over the place, but it's really, really fun to be able to vary the repertoire, to do things that maybe we wouldn't be able to do at a regular gig in a hotel where there, you have a little bit different expectations. It's so much fun. It's so much fun to step out of the box and try something new. Right, Harry?
Absolutely. Oh, by the way, I can hear you now. So.
Okay, good.
No, I think that was Lena Horne's show. That one.
Lena Horne.
Lena
Okay.
Horne. Yes.
And do we know who this was?
Every Saturday I go take the ferry.
I believe that.
I take the ferry over to Anaïs's and we.
I got you. Here's one.
Oh,
is this one
that's
showing
a
up?
picture.
Yep, I'm
That's
trying
a
to
picture. It's right over Harry's face.
It's not see, I can't see it. Unfortunately, it's not showing up on mine. So for whatever reason, it's not showing up. I don't know why, but that was Lola, right? Lola Falana?
That was a photo shoot, yes, from that particular show.
So
that's
for whatever reason, and it might be on me now. It might be my internet's not working, but for whatever reason, I can't see these pictures. So I'm putting them up, but I can't see them. So
well, we saw it.
I'm going back. Well, Harry, since I covered up Harry's face, let me cover up Harry's face.
Oh, there you go.
There he is.
I love that.
Banu took that picture. Banu Gibson took that picture at World War II Museum.
Very nice. I was trying to go back in time. I saw some wonderful old pictures that I came up with, and I can't see what you all are seeing, which is aggravating to me because if I put the picture up, it's like it's invisible. I can see you guys, but I can't see it. But this is an older picture.
Oh, look at that! Wow.
Now that was the Store Boone Awards, maybe? Is that possible?
No, that's Le Chat Noir.
Yeah, but was that the Store Boone Awards at Le Chat?
Oh, you're right.
Yep, I think that's what that was. So tell everybody who that is in the picture because I can't see it.
There's Chris Beckline. There's Amy. There's Vatican, and there's Eddie Cox.
Yeah, Vatican, Loki, and Eddie Cox.
Yep.
So that's the first time I've had Vatican and Eddie on the show, I think, right now. So and I know that that we go back a little bit, Anaïs. That one is an oldie.
Whoa.
Huh?
Wow. What was that from? The Big Easies?
I think so, because I was dressed in a tux, so probably so. And then another one, one Mardi Gras, I happened to be in the quarter, and who did I run into but...
Oh, my. Look at you.
I think it was Groucho.
You're Groucho, and I'm a barely dressed Native American. Yes.
Yeah. Now, Harry, I don't have any of you just yet, but here's one. I believe this might have been the night that Le Chat Noir closed, or one of the nights, because they had several. One of the nights that they closed, and this is one of my favorite pictures because you two were just having too much of a good time. You recognize that? Becca Chapman. Becca was on.
Well, you know, Becca Chapman also teaches at Trinity.
Yes.
She teaches at Trinity.
Yeah.
Well,
it goes to prove
love Becca.
Those that can do can teach too. You know, so it spoils that adage. You know, those that can't teach. But no, you all have proven the fact that you all are more than capable to teach as well as to perform. And I have to say that to see you all perform on stage is always, you know, whether it's Becca as an actor or you as a singer, or Harry as a pianist, and again, music director. I need to get a picture of, you know, that Harry has of some of the works that he's done too, away from the piano, with some of your puppetry. Maybe I can figure out where I can do it because what's her name, Miss Miss Viola. Miss Viola, yes. I know I must have a picture of Miss Viola somewhere, lurking around on my hard drive somewhere. But I was gonna take a little bit of a break with you know, you all performing tonight, but looks like we'll just have to wing it since we can't seem to get the drives to cooperate. Even though it's just spinning around like nobody's business. I get to see you all, but unfortunately, not to. Yeah, I mean, it's just a shame because I'm not quite sure why it's doing that. Just, I guess, being arbitrary. But if anybody who's out there who wants to leave a comment or a question, please feel free to do so.
This is the thing about performing. This is the thing about performing online. You know, you come into these technical difficulties. We've run into them as well. Not too often, but it's never like being live. There's nothing like that, right?
So who started the idea of doing the Porch Fest? Was it some inspiration that you came up with, or was it you were bored and you wanted something to do, or you said, my pipes are getting a little rusty? What? Who was it that came up with it?
Not at all. I live in Algiers Point, and one of my neighbors asked me if I could help to organize a sing-along. She had seen a video of Italians singing together off their balconies. Of course, the Italians were all sounding like they had been in operas as well. But so we were going to organize that in our neighborhood. So she put out sing-along. She asked me to choose some songs, and I did all of this a cappella. And it was so enlightening. It was so much fun that I called Harry. I said, what if we just tried it? What if we did it our own? And I knew that I have a piano in my living room that's on rollers. So I was like, we can just roll the piano out and try it. And we did. And it was so much fun that we decided to keep doing it. And it's, we now have people who come and sit in front of the house, and we're regulars. And it's been a wonderful reprieve from everyday life.
I'm sure that the neighbors are really appreciative.
We're blessed to be able to perform.
Yeah. I know that they've got to be happy that you're doing it, but also there are a lot of people on the internet who are checking you out too. Have you heard about how far away you've been getting mentions? I mean, how many people are watching?
I have people. I know that I have regulars who watch. There's people watching from France, from Mexico City. It's really kind of cool to know that you can reach an audience so broad through this social media platform.
Have you gotten as far away yet?
It's new to me. I love that you can do that.
Anybody from Australia or New Zealand yet, or no?
As far as what?
Australia or New Zealand? No one that far away, huh?
I'm sure. I don't know. Everybody doesn't say hello to me. So
yeah.
I know that some of the numbers have been quite high. I think Build Withers was our highest viewed show, right, Harry? Harry's coming back. Harry, wasn't the Build Withers show the highest? Yeah. 1930s and Bill Withers. So you never know how the numbers are going to work out, but I'm just flattered that anybody tunes in, and that we do have our regulars. So I think it's a blessing to have Harry and to be able to do it from my home and to do a 1-hour show and to make something unique and beautiful.
Do you always have information about the person that you're doing? In other words, if you're doing Eartha Kitt, do you put a little information about where she was born, some biographical information as well?
I do a little bit, little snippets. So it's not a full out, as I would do a full out cabaret show. Just because it's a sports show and I only do an hour, so I want to make sure I get in. We have it down to a science. It's 12 songs, and I like to talk to the people, but there is a little bit of information, and I keep it very casual and conversational rather than something I would do on the stage. We did try doing the full cabaret show, though. We did Lulu White on the Porch, and that was one of the ones that the internet wasn't working and it broke up. But
now I saw the Lulu White show. For those of you who don't know who Lulu White was, she was a madam in Storyville, but one of the classier of the madams, and somebody who actually was responsible for the careers of some of our well-known jazz personalities that actually played piano or had been involved in playing some music at the establishment she had. Was that Mahogany something or other?
She was quite the businesswoman. I mean, she had the most, certainly the most fabulous brothel, and really, really luxurious and elaborate. And her, and of course, put out the Blue Book. I mean, very organized, she made a lot of money initially. She also had friends in high places. She had people who were businessmen and people who were some politicians helping her to, get out of trouble, because she was arrested many, many, many times, obviously for breaking the law, for, whether it be, selling the liquor, there were laws against people of mixed races interacting, if you know what I mean. But to put out the blue book with that detailed what she was offering and the categories of what you could get. I mean, there was something for everyone. So it really was sort of a clever way to promote her business. So she was certainly. Oh, what do we have here, Harry? Look at that.
Mahogany
Hall.
Wow.
Yes.
So now that was something that she would pass out. People would have that as a coin of the realm, as it were.
Right. It says.
Speak in the mic now.
Room check, good for all night.
Huh? So you got a free room on that one, huh? But also her nephew, was Spencer Williams, who wrote Basin Street Blues, which was about Mahogany Hall.
Okay.
Of course, Louis Armstrong played there, and so it was quite, and I owe everything to Denise Altabello, who wrote that wonderful script. So it's a marriage of Denise's words and Harry's playing, and then my Vava.
Have you thought about reviving that again, or?
I will revive anything once everything opens up. I'm ready to. I just want to do everything again. I want to do Donna. I want to do Tina. I want to do Eartha. I just want to work.
Now you mentioned Donna Summer. That was Jonathan Maris, wasn't it? Was his production company. And again, that was an involved production because you had so many instruments on stage with you, right?
I had
not to say nothing about the costumes.
7-piece band, 2 backup singers, dancers. It was the biggest show I'd ever done up to date. And we did it at the Always, and we did it at the Joy twice. So it was quite successful, yes.
And again, part of what your training was, and I know, Harry, you were well trained, it's not a problem, but when you were first starting out learning a bit about cabaret, you got an opportunity. They raised some money for you to do it, but you went to the Yale Summer Conference.
That's right.
And the gentleman who actually headed it up was very well known in cabaret circles, but unfortunately passed away a few years ago, and they've really
did. Irv Rabel. We became good friends. In fact, I got Irv to produce and direct my first cabaret show, which we're going to reprise this Saturday. It was called No Reservations, and Harry and I went up to New York and made my New York debut at the Duplex with that show with Irv Rabel. And Irv was a friend of ours. He would come and stay at our house, and Marco and he would got along very well. We were all friends. We all love, and hopefully he's proud of.
But there were master classes that you would learn from people like Alex Rybeck and people like Andre Marcovici. I mean, the real cabaret performers would actually take part in this and teach.
They were
their experience.
They were the teachers. I mean, we're talking the creme de la creme of cabaret stars, and to be able to have that opportunity to, it was such a humbling experience and so cool to do that. And the first cabaret was myself along with Julia Lachey, Jesse Terrebonne, and then Suzanne McCamey. We were the first class that came from New Orleans. I actually went to the cabaret conference twice, but my first time I went we made quite an impression as the New Orleans ladies.
I didn't realize that you went twice.
I did go twice. I went back. I got a Trinity offers professional development, and I won a scholarship to go back.
Oh, I see. Okay, well, that's fantastic. Well, I know that Amy Alvarez had also been trained at another cabaret after she was at Yale. She went somewhere out in the Midwest somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I believe the second year I went with Rich Arnold and let's see, Trina Beck was there.
What about Jefferson? Was he in that class as well?
Not.
Yeah,
not in my class, but
I know he was one of the people who was a recipient, and unusual because of the fact that he played, an instrument. He was a pianist as opposed to a singer, because most people you see are involved with the singing aspects rather than with the. But like I said, Alex Rybeck, a wonderful pianist, arranger, composer in his own right.
Julie Wilson, who made that.
Oh yes,
huge impression on me.
Yeah. She was the Grand Dame, if you
will. Amanda McBroom. you know.
So again, all of these people had a profound influence on your ability to learn the craft of cabaret, because cabaret is not just about singing songs. It really is an all-encompassing show that brings you from one point to another. There's an arc to it, is there not?
There is an arc. I think the biggest education I ever got wasn't from Yale. It was from working at Le Chatenois and watching show after show after show, watching these New York performers and these New Orleans performers put on these shows. I learned how to fabricate my own show. And the interesting thing is, even though I was doing jazz gigs at, the Windsor and this hotel and that one, I began to use elements of cabaret and put them into the jazz gigs. So I, in essence, was practicing my cabaret every Friday and Saturday,
And again, you not only were at the Windsor, you were also for a while at the Hyatt for a number of years, correct?
And the Royal Sonesta with the Women in Jazz and the Monteleone and all of the big ones.
Yeah. Now, of course, Harry, you have been involved in so many different projects, and of course, at the Big Easy Awards, you would always be playing piano. Doing your, I guess, music director part in that, because they had to have somebody who was able to play with all kinds of different diverse groups. That's a big tribute to you and your abilities.
I did all but 3 of them. All but 3 of them.
Right. And again, I know you put your heart and your soul into all of those. And again, I know there's a lot of work that's entailed. Again, hats off to all the people involved with that. And I'm just sorry that this year's Big Easy Awards did not take place. The ones for 2019 were not held. We were supposed to hold them at they were trying to do a little social connection, if you will, between all the Big Easy Classical Arts Awards, the Big Easy Music Awards, the Big Easy Theater Awards, and the Big Easy Dance presentations that we had, and kind of get everybody together. Unfortunately, the April event didn't go. They tried to push it back to June and didn't go. Then September didn't go, and then finally they just announced it was canceled. And we're not sure where next year's awards will be or what we're going to do. We're still trying to vet all that, but we hope that we'll be able to bring all those people back together and enjoy. And I would say celebrate New Orleans, because that's really what it is all about. It's a celebration of the art of New Orleans, no matter whether it's classical, whether it's the homegrown music, whether it be something like hip hop or rap or something more like funk or perhaps some of the soul and other entries that we might have. And then the dance, we have everything from ballet to modern interpretive dance, all those sorts of things. And they have people who are involved in going out and seeing all of these productions every week. They go out to see a new production or 2 or 3. In my case, sometimes I see as many as 5 or 6 shows in a week as the theater member.
If I may make a suggestion, I think you guys should add a category of Porch Fest.
Of what? Yeah. Porch Fest. Well, we did actually have part of the theater awards. We did have a cabaret award that was there for a while, and we had to basically, at one point we were told, well, we can't have a cabaret award, because the cabaret award would always go to Le Chatenois because there's no other cabaret in town. And then of course they closed, and then Fred opened up Mid-City.
Yes.
But in terms of a real legitimate cabaret, there's not been a lot of them that are here in New Orleans. And as I said, the Blue Room was probably a big room that did cabaret style. I remember seeing Ella Fitzgerald perform there as an example, and it was one of the finest shows I've ever seen, and something I'll never forget. But they did all kinds of things at the Blue Room, and it wasn't just the cabaret type of things. I mean, you had people like big name acts from Hollywood and big name acts from New York and Las Vegas, et cetera, who would come in. So it was a little bit different. Let me see if I can sort of back up. Harry, talk to me a little bit about your marionettes and stuff, because I know we get sort of late in the evening, and I want to. How did you get involved with that? How did that happen? And does Miss Viola go to the Porch Fest as well, or does she stay at home?
No, Viola is kind of semi-retired right now. I've been doing more. I've been doing performing in the Puppet Fest, but I've been doing more, art pieces. I have one right here. It's Ruthie the Duck Lady. Ruthie.
Wow, I recognize Ruthie. Now that's a young Ruthie, though.
She has her duck.
There you go.
And she
That's
has
fantastic.
a cigarette. Wait, I'm finding the camera. A cigarette for later.
Oh yeah.
But I have work at Crescent's Art Gallery. Crescent's Fine Art is at 831 Charter Street.
Right.
Going back to the Big Easy Awards, I was supposed to have a gallery show in March last year. Then it was going to be in September, and so who knows? At some point, that was a little preview of one of the new pieces I'm doing. I have about 8 pieces I'm working on, and so I have a little bit more time. But
And again, you can craft these on demand if somebody wants to have a marionette of their beloved whatever. You can do that for them. Of course, it's I mean, it's a lengthy process you go through, so it does have an attendant price, but it's something that's unique.
I've done several commissions. Barbara Motley and some friends commissioned me to do a surprise gift for a couple there who remain and not wish to be keep it anonymous, but they're kind of.
You got to speak up a little bit, Harry. Just belt it out. Belt it out.
Okay.
There you go. A little bit
right
more.
On the camera, if you
I mean, just get in it.
Yeah. So there was a couple. I call them a power couple in New York, and they wanted to give this couple something, kind of the couple who had everything, and I did a portrait of each of them, and had a presentation at Antoine's. And the moment where they recognized the puppets were them, and the puppets recognized the people were them, and it was all improv. I did an improv show. I did one of our friend Elliot Kamenetz, who was formerly a photographer for the Times-Picayune. And every time I see him, I laugh because I studied his face. And as you'd see me, it's like looking at his eyes, looking at his nose, looking at his mouth. So I really studied him. And his wife, Laura, commissioned me to do this as a surprise for him. And it was presented to him at Crescent's Gallery a few years ago.
When you do these things, is it like doing a caricature that you find a feature, a nose, an ear, an eye, or something like that, and you accentuate it more, or do you try to keep closer? How does that work?
I like to start with a childhood picture.
Okay.
I like to start because the basic structure is there when you're a kid. There's a wonderful book called As They Were, and it's a collection of photographs of a lot of famous people when they were babies or when they were young people. And it's interesting how some you can see who you can instantly recognize them. But even the ones that you don't, when you look at a picture of them as an adult, as we know them as celebrities, you can see the similarities. And it helps. What I've done with the people who I've done these for is requested as many photographs as I can have. And I like to know, primarily people that I know. But I haven't yet done any that I don't know, but I would, want to see videos and things. It's not a superficial thing like doing a caricature, drawing after drawing at a convention or something. And I have great respect for people who do that.
Well, I have great respect for caricature artists. I mean, Al Hirschfeld was able to capture with just very little bit of, they call him the Line King because of it, but just very little bit of a circle here, a straight line here, whatever. He was able to capture the essence of a personality. And a lot of times, there are people who draw a lot, and they try to, and they never get as much as what he got with just a little bit. He
was phenomenal. When I was about 4, I did my own line drawing of his drawing of Julie Andrews on the My Fair Lady cover.
Yes, with the marionette. Coincidentally, with your marionette, right?
But anyway, about 2 years before he passed away, I photocopied it and sent it to the Margot Feiden Gallery in New York City. Now, whether he actually saw it, I'll never know. but I wrote him a letter and I said, please don't think me a plagiarist, as I was only 4 when I did this. But the gallery sent me back a signed self-portrait of Mr. Hirschfeld.
Isn't that nice? That's very sweet. I just as a word to the wise, Margot Fide no longer represents Mr. Hirschfeld.
Oh,
All of the paintings of whatever the caricatures, the portraits, the lithographs, etc., that she had are no longer licensed through her gallery. I'm not quite sure. There was apparently a legal dispute, and the result was that she's no longer able to represent him in any way. So in case you wonder why you're not seeing Margot doing a lot of stuff, it's a legal thing. Again, I want to thank you all for being here tonight. I mean, it's been a pleasure. I'm sorry we weren't able to show more of your Anaïs. I'm sorry, I really am, because you are such a superb singer, and it's a shame that we don't get a chance to to see what you do tonight on this platform. But we can remind everybody every Saturday. Where can people go? It's at your Facebook page. What is it?
Public Facebook page. That's Anaïs St. John Jazz. And it's every Saturday at 4. This coming Saturday, the theme is we're doing my Herbes Cabaret show, No Reservations, which is saucy, sultry, double entendre songs. A lot about cooking, if you know what I mean. Sizzling hot.
Oh yeah.
Harry?
Harry, now when you've got a show that she's already curated like that, do you find that you have to learn it a little bit more difficult for you to learn it, or is it something that just comes naturally for you to do something like that somebody's already curated
together? So we've done this before.
We did it together.
So okay, so it wasn't somebody else; it was actually your show for the beginning with. Okay, I understand. Yeah, well that makes it a lot easier. No problem.
I'll tell you though, every week, a lot of the things I know. There's some weeks where Anaïs sends me her wish list of things to do, and I know all of them. But then when we got into the more current music, the 70s, 80s, 90s, that was a little bit more learned. That's a challenge, but we both like a challenge.
And
that's what's exciting I think for both of us is, I know it is for me when I go over 2 o'clock and we have a real set routine where we both do our homework, we come together, it might be a little rough, and then we just, it all happens. It's like magic.
And tell me again, the Venmo, that's a way that people can tip the artist. About how does that work? Do they tip it?
They send it to my Venmo, and I always say, if you are able, please send donations to my Venmo, and I say my Venmo.
So your Venmo would be like Venmo.com/Anaïs or something like that, or
it's Anaïs/St. John.
Okay.
So, and I say that multiple times during the production. Of course, I put it on the title.
Right.
Because of course we're working for tips, right?
Well, the idea being that first off, people who want to feel like they're helping out the artists should be entitled to help out the artists. And the other thing is that nobody necessarily wants to get a free ride, and they want to feel like they contribute. So, I mean, you all are putting your talent out there. If somebody feels like they've gotten to take something away from your act, and they feel like they want to, give you a little something. I mean, I think that's just like anybody would also give a chef or a like a as an example, like at a sushi restaurant. If you go to the sushi bar, you want to give the guy who does your sushi a little something. If somebody is your waiter, or if somebody is your hairstylist, you want to give them a little something extra. That's all there is to it. So I believe that we're having a little problem with our internet right now. I know Anaïs has dropped off. We're having trouble connecting right now. So
I hear everything.
I'm back.
Okay, good. But Anaïs is apparently dropped off, so we may not be able to say good. Well, I don't know. We'll see if we can say goodnight. Hopefully, we'll be able to say goodnight to her. But it looks to me like she's gonna probably take.
I see her.
Okay, you can see her, but I can't.
Oh.
So for whatever reason, just like I couldn't see the pictures, I can see it. In any event, I want to thank you all for being here tonight. We have some wonderful shows coming up. Coming up this Friday, we've got Chris Kamenstein and Shannon. Was it Flaherty? Who are going to be part of Goat in the Road Productions. They're going to be speaking about Goat in the Road, and I mean, they did an incredible production last year that I really didn't get a chance to talk about on Stepping Out. And I want to really talk about The Uninvited, which was about the Gallier house and the two different sides of the household, the people who were the servants and the people who were the landlords, the Galliers, et cetera, the family, and how those two worlds intersected. And just an incredible thing. And unfortunately, COVID shut it down. But it was one of the best things I'd ever seen last year, and would definitely have been nominated for a Big Easy Award as far as I'm concerned. And then, of course, coming up on a week from tonight, the 25th, I'm planning on having Sarah Zogby and perhaps somebody else. Sarah's now graduated. She used to be, of course, with Southern Rep, and she is going to be talking about her new field, as it were, of social work and mental health. We're going to talk a little bit about what we've been going through as a nation, what we went through the summertime, and how a lot of the challenges we've had in terms of keeping the national dialogue open about equality and diversity and things of that sort, as well as dealing with this pandemic and all that has been made to impress upon us, the delicate nature of work and our craft, everything that we're doing, that could be upended like it was with this pandemic. So I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Anaïs St. John, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and just say have a good night because, as I said, the internet's a little unstable. So I'll wish you well. And again, we'll look forward to seeing you on Saturday. Again, Harry, it's been a pleasure as well to see you. I hope that you have a wonderful night tonight, and I'll get a chance to see you on Saturday as well. Take care of yourself. In the meantime, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight as well. Again, my name is Alan Smason, and it's been my pleasure to be with you tonight as part of NOLA Theater Talk. Again, we broadcast this at the NOLA Theater Folk Facebook group, to the theatercriticism.com Facebook page, and to my own YouTube channel. Again, thanks for being here tonight. Thank you, Anaïs. Thank you, Harry Mayronne. And I'll see you all at the theater.